Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of East Meets West. Ladies and gentlemen, your boy subscribe over there to that way. Your boy Mike and Kyle, we back at it. We basically giving y'all the ladies, the USA basketball women's national team Paris 2024 recap.
I
And
mean,
we're gonna spitball a little bit about the suddenly returned WNBA season as well. That's actually underway right now as we speak. So sorry to kind of invade y'all time, but y'all can pull it up
you
on
know,
YouTube and turn us up, and just watch the game. Y'all don't need commentary.
exactly.
Y'all don't
Or
need
think
commentary.
of us, the first game, we're already at approximately halftime. We can be your halftime show. There you go.
Facts.
There you go.
Facts. So
But I mean, several
yeah,
days have passed already since the finals of the
yeah,
women's Olympic basketball tournament.
yes.
Again, just give you the quick Cliff Notes recap.
Out of
Because let's
nowhere.
be real, I'm not going to be waving this flag too much, for the remainder of
Yeah.
the season. So
Yeah.
that's like my last time.
Yeah. Shout out to France too though. For
Exactly,
playing such a
exactly.
beautiful game. But is before we dive in, like, did you have any? What did you think was gonna happen before this game began? Like, you thought it was
Hmm.
gonna be just a
Well,
haymaker knockout?
I think no, no. I think our last episode, and thank you all for kind of waiting for us. I know it's been approximately 8 days
Yeah,
since our last episode.
that's on me. That's on me.
Yes, the famous opinionated MJ, right? Life has been lifing. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's
for
like
both of
on a
us.
crazy
But
level.
make no mistake, we still made time to tune in to all these games, and
Mhm.
just wanted to circle back with some final thoughts before we close this chapter on the Paris Olympics. But
Yeah,
to go back to what you were saying, actually, a lot of the things that you and I discussed um, in our last episode,
yeah,
potentially kind of reshuffling the lineups,
yeah.
actually just taking certain players completely out of the rotation might be beneficial.
Yeah.
And whoa, did Cheryl Reeves totally wait till like the last game,
Right.
which is
She was
hey,
like, "Oh, I
right?
heard that."
Yeah, you don't want to tip your hand,
Right.
I respect it. It became matchup adjustment. I don't agree. Like I agree. Well, I don't agree with all of what she did, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
But and we'll get into that. But you know, hindsight now being 2020, I think those were overall the necessary adjustments that needed to be made. And well, it was a close game.
Right.
I'm not saying we eked out
Man.
that win because of those adjustments, but I'm just saying, right, like they were definitely necessary. I think they were definitely necessary, especially like again, not to pick on any players, but I really, last time we discussed or we tuned in,
Yeah.
I was kind of saying, or I think you and I were kind of speculating or suggesting
Mhm.
that maybe they needed to scale back on DT and Jewel Lloyd's minutes, if
Yeah.
not just completely take him out of the rotation. And sure enough, that is what happened.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. I mean, we don't need to go too in depth to like every possession to possession of the
Right.
finals game. It's a game that obviously came down to the final seconds.
Hmm.
We're a Gabby Williams foot on the line
Right. Yeah.
away from going to
Serious.
OT, and this could be a
Serious.
different conversation,
That's
right?
that's real talk. Yeah. Like it was just crazy for her to even like have made that shot. You know what I mean? Like Gabby isn't the one that people actually anticipate to be able to even shoot like, and she was shooting big shots and making them in this game. And
Yeah,
that just goes along with what I've been thinking about most of the women's players. Like, if you put them in a position to have to do something, you put the responsibility on them, they will adapt. You know what I mean? That's basketball. You know what I mean? Like, eventually point guards that can't shoot, just across basketball period. They end up becoming shooters. Centers that needed to shoot 2 years ago, they ended up becoming shooters. Players that needed to be able to like pass the ball a little bit better, as they've aged and gotten older, and in order for their prime to be fully unlocked or to fully be able to open up the floor for themselves to be able to operate the way that they want to after they'd been a rookie, and then finally they're getting scouted and all of that, and they're getting figured out. It's like you have to add more to your game. So there's less and less that can actually be held against you. And I think Gabby, man, like the last thought of Gabby that people had, that this Gabby was different. You know what I mean? So, and that's why France was in the place that they were in the finals, and why they pushed us to the brink. Like that was a crazy game. You know what I mean? I was like
Yeah.
sick. I probably still sound a little nasally, but like I'm still jumping up and down, sweating in the damn room, just watching the game. Like I'm outside in 100 degrees, but I'm hot in the damn room. And like, man, it was a beautiful game. And then to add on to what you said about the rotations, like, man, France has some athletic players. You know what I mean?
They
So I
do.
think that was the right call because, yeah, if we came out like flat footing it, slow foot, pussy footing it, whatever like analogy you want to plug into that, yeah, that game could have really got out of hand real fast, especially trying to make a late adjustment as opposed to having the players already on the floor able to kind of do the jousting that they were doing, like going back and forth, man. And still we still ended up looking like I never felt us have control of this game until Sabrina Ionescu came in, like
Control
at
of this
all.
game.
No
We
control,
were down
none.
like double digits, like a
Yeah,
majority of the
yeah.
game.
I mean, and even when we were coming back, it was like, okay, Sabrina has some control of our offensive pace and whatnot, and being able to get the ball where it needs to go when players are making certain movements. But
Yeah.
outside of her, like, man, no, we like I did not know what the result of this game was going to be. I was no longer thinking, yep, women got this, whatever, dream team, elite, whatever, won how many games straight, 60, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that might be out the window. But they pulled it out, and the woman that's over here doing things now, Kalia Copper, right now in the game, I'm watching on the phone, right
That
beside the
bad
iPad,
B.
like Kalia Copper,
As
baby.
Asia Wilson said, that bad B, man.
Yeah, yeah,
I
she,
like how I
man.
selectively choose when to censor myself. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no, perfect time to censor. I was
You know what I'm
listening to Tarika and Christina's pod, and they were mentioning that like it's okay for the ladies to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like they could do their thing on there, but we can't. That's that. No, that's crossing the borderline for us.
I
So
know, right?
that girl,
That's
Casey
right.
baby. Yeah.
The
So yeah,
boss. Let's
if
put
it
it that
wasn't
way.
for her, this game might
Well,
have.
actually, you know what? Rather than just recap, like quarter by quarter, I think yeah, we just kind of go down some thoughts, things that we liked,
Yeah.
things that we didn't like, to
Yeah.
kind of give, a recap of how this game kind of panned out.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I guess I already said I'll put it in the like column. Not that I dislike them as players or people, but I liked that Shell Reeve trimmed down the rotation.
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
felt that was necessary. Um, you know, what was it? Yeah, CYO minutes. We don't need that in the Olympic finals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where like everybody gets to play. No, no,
Right. Right.
no. And
CYO.
to be fair, yeah, to be
What is
fair,
CYO? Because you're old.
no, Catholic Youth Organization, right? Where it's like
Oh damn.
mandatory, right? Where it's like mandatory, like youth basketball or youth sports.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
mandatory.
All
Everybody
right.
gets to play.
Yeah.
Because you're old. Okay, now you're the one being mean, dude. You need to censor yourself.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, no, but uh, like I said, I mean, I felt that there was just too many opportunities where defensively, they were inevitably going to attack DT on
Yeah.
defense, and offensively, maybe in 2028 if she wants to participate again, Jewel Lloyd, that is, it'll be
Okay.
a different story.
Yeah.
It's just where we said last episode. I don't think she ever truly. I think she's the only one who never really truly found a role for herself on this team.
Right.
And because of that, obviously, she never got into any kind of rhythm. So not that I'm glad to see them get benched. I'm just glad to see that,
The
you know,
necessary changes
yeah,
resulted in a win.
yeah. What I also like to see,
Mhm.
um, I mean, everybody, I mean, yeah, I've said it multiple times on this pod. I am a big Kelsey Plum fan,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. He was
And
huge.
Jackie Young. Okay, I like the
Yeah, they
Aces roster.
both were
Okay.
good. Yeah.
It was absolutely necessary, crucial that they play
Hmm.
heavy minutes. And I'm
Hmm.
glad that Cheryl Reeve went to Kelsey Plum early in the game and stuck with her,
Yeah.
because yeah, they just needed again that spark, two-way energy, and yeah, they needed each backcourt player to be able to create off the dribble,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
which then leads me into another thing I like,
Hmm.
Sabrina in, you know, I think between I think Kelsey Plum kind of be inserted, in the first half, prevented the game from getting away from them,
Yeah.
prior to halftime, kind of making it somewhat manageable.
Yeah.
And then, opening up the second half with Sabrina, I think that really,
Hmm.
kind of changed the momentum of the game. Started to
Yeah.
kind of pull it back to the U.S.
And
What
gave
I
us
didn't like,
control and pace
oh,
too.
good. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I didn't like, though, is that one, she didn't play at all in the first half. I didn't understand that
Nah, me neither.
at all. At all. Um, and not that I like coaches, but since I'm going to try to incorporate this as a like and dislike kind of
Uh
thing,
oh. Uh oh.
I liked that Cheryl Reeve finally received criticism, like the same type of criticism that Steve Kerr, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
That you are not infallible. Wait a minute, you're saying?
Right.
Because I mean, up until the finals, like against what, Germany, Belgium, they went on runs,
Yeah.
and they even had a lead at one point.
Right.
But at a certain point in those games, you could definitively feel like, okay, they were still, like, the US were still being able to manage the game, and they could take over. That never really happened in this
No.
one.
No.
It was very incrementally kind of clawing their way back in.
Yeah.
You know, um,
It was scary.
yeah, because I mean, like, I don't think that she necessarily pushed all the right buttons. She pushed enough buttons to get the job done. Which, hey, right, the win's a
Right.
win. That is important. But that was interesting. What about you? Any things that you liked and
I
disliked
mean, just
overall?
piggybacking off of that, like, is she could have played BG more because they did not have an answer
Hmm.
for her. It's no answer for her, and then had it where BG's in the game, maybe put like AT in the game, and then let them be the bigs. If it well, Brianna and Aja wouldn't both be sitting all the time, so
Mm.
make it where it would be. I mean, hell, they could have had Aja. I wondered why Aja wasn't stretching the floor a little bit, like even just taking a shot or two from distance. You know what I mean? When she's capable, we've seen what she's been able to do throughout this Olympic run. Like she's shown the flashes of, hey, I can shoot too. I do. My coach is Becky Hammond. She does give me the green light, and I can let it fly too. And I felt like it would have kept the defense, like France's defense, more honest. But I do think that BG being in there more minutes would have made a difference because um it would have made it where they could have played inside out. And then you would have to like try to pile up on BG to try to stop her or just let her destroy you. You know what I mean? So BG's capable of 20 and 10 in the WNBA. So why is she not capable of being the primary like go-to girl? And I know it's because of AJ and Brianna. I know people. Yep, I hear you. Oh, what, Mike? Yeah, nope, nope. Listen, we just needed to win, certainly,
Well,
not uncertainly. We're used to winning big and it just being landslide. Go, back to and we
oh
going home. But this game it never felt like, oh yeah, USA is they're about to run away with this. No.
no, no. I mean, I think at the time, in the moment, I remember just kind of thinking to myself, because I wondered the same thing too. I was like, huh, there was like a couple minutes stretch, like maybe like a 3 minute stretch there where BG was, you know,
Yeah.
kind of starting to get a rhythm there, right? Scoring
Hmm.
inside, shooting over, the defense.
Hmm.
She had the turnaround going.
Yep.
And then, yeah, like you said, they went away from her. My only thought was maybe because I feel like, like, it's like there was like fear, right? Like there, kind of like you
Yeah.
see a 15-point deficit or whatever it was at the time, 15 or 17 points, right?
Yeah.
Like, I
16
guess
might be.
maybe, yeah, some of that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. My thought at the time was maybe Cheryl thought that, like, okay, we kind of need to go with a little bit more like offense, like, or
Speed.
maybe to be able to stretch the floor more, you
Yeah.
know? Because if you're playing Asia at the 5, then rather than go like double big, like you said,
Hmm.
insert more wings or guards, you know. So that was like, Clay Copper, Kelsey Plum, Jackie, Sabrina, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was an odd decision. It was odd. Um, I don't know. I don't know. That was again one of those kind of questionable things where if we didn't win, you really, you know, you
Yeah.
look back and you're
Then you
like,
got
what was
something to
that
really
about?
go in on. Like,
Yeah.
why the hell didn't you? And yeah, I mean, I guess with the limited amount of games that they had to really build a rhythm with especially with the new oncoming players, you know what I mean? Because a lot of them are newbies too, So
Yeah.
just seeing that they had so many newbies come in, and I don't know that this team, considering how many newbies is on this team, I don't know, like maybe okay, DT's gone. Um, if I mean personally, I feel like unless you game plan around Jewel, she won't be. She can't. Maybe in 4 years she'll be more effective and able to actually be like a better on execution at her role. But right now, like if we had to do another run next year, like we had an Olympic run or something, just real fast, maybe even a World Cup, I don't know that I would, like unless we're bringing on a lot more newcomers to do the World Cup. But I don't know if Jules should even be there, and that's not nothing against her. It's just it's what I see with her. Period. It's what I seen with her with Sue Bird, and Brianna is what I seen with her to begin this season with Nneka Agwuemeke and Skylar Diggins Smith. Like she cannot like always fit herself into something that's so spread out and not
Yeah.
centered around her. And that's no knock. It's gonna only sound like one, but it's just not. It's like she basically rises to the occasion. You know what I mean? So you can have her, you can have probably one of two of Brianna and Aja, and then like sprinkle some role players for real in around her. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
maybe it would work better, but you would have to be playing through her. So I think that's really what the problem was. Like they weren't playing through her as much, and it's not like we seen much else outside of the ability for her to knock down shots, like going on the floor, like or she would have been in, playing in Jackie Young's minutes or Kelsey Plum's minutes if she was more of a like a bigger help on defense. Not to say she's just, you could just run past her, but if she was a bigger help on D, I think they would have went to her more. Because I mean,
Yeah.
even Fee wasn't scoring just crazy throughout the whole Olympics, but she
There you
was
go.
making the extra passes and playing good defense, like you know what I mean. So that got her minutes. So I just think that bench lineup for the women, like it was in question anyway. You know what I mean? Like we seen
Yes.
AT kind of disappear a little bit in certain some games. Well, I won't say disappear, but just they were messing with her. She was getting like turnovers that didn't look like her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aja was getting like frustrated and flustered with the way that they were playing her. And I know it was a super physical game, but you got to be able to play through it. And I mean, did we have a game plan prepared for like did we have a plan B, a plan C? Like I don't really think so. You know what I mean? Like the only plan that we did have was okay, DT shouldn't be starting. Um maybe we should start Jackie, maybe we should increase the pace a little bit, especially against a team like France and just make, just that one little quick move right here, like boom, boop, and then keep it moving. So that's what we did. If we didn't go too outside of what our rotation was, it might have killed the momentum for everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But thank God for Kalia Copper. You can plug and play at any time, and she's gonna produce. Because without that plug and play ability, who does it? If Jewel wasn't doing it all Olympics, if like Sabrina didn't log heavy minutes in the last couple games. Um, like I mean, who do we know just off the top of our head outside of BG? But that's a guard that's just gonna come in and just you know what I mean, run up the score a little bit, and it was Kalia Copper. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Who I think is best suited to be
hmm
able to do that.
yeah,
I think Kelsey, even Jackie, they can score, but their
and they could get to
playmaking
the
is what's
cup
going to
too.
be. Yeah, their playmaking, their slashing. That's what's going to be like their best
Mhm.
contribution. On that team, that team makeup.
Yeah,
Um, Actually, yeah. Going back to our likes, thank you for reminding me. I've said it before. I said the entire Olympic tournament. You
hmm
know, and that final game only makes me feel more emboldened to say that Nafisa Collier is like the low key MVP of
yeah,
that team,
yep.
or I don't know, the MCP, most consistent player. Most consistent,
The unsung hero.
the unsung hero, the stabilizing force of
Right,
that team. Again, yeah, like we've been saying all along, right? Playing a role that we didn't really expect her to be doing, or yeah, maybe we didn't expect her to be doing, where she could affect the game in every single way except scoring,
right.
you know. Um, and by the way, okay, so something that we dislike. Okay, okay. The game is what the game is. Game flow is game flow, right?
Right.
So you always say these well, if this happened, if that happened, blah blah
hmm
blah. Well, it didn't happen.
Right.
Okay.
That's true.
But all I'm saying is, let's be real, right? I'm not going to pull it up because we saw it. We saw it in real time. I do give credit to France's defense, but would you not say that Team USA missed an inordinate amount of point blank layups? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? If they
Yeah.
make just like literally,
Three
or yeah, fine, a third
or
of the ones
four.
they missed, right? Because I think they had like what, 10
Yeah.
missed like layups. And we're talking
Yeah.
about like at the cup,
At the
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That is like we go into halftime with like a 10-point lead, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
I mean,
it's
that's true.
fine. At least we're going up. We're going into halftime no worse than being tied. Let's put
Right.
that. Let's be conservative.
Yeah.
I mean, and then again, that was even from some of our most consistent and reliable scorers, right? When
hmm
all is said and done, Asia and Brianna Stewart, they had fairly nice stat lines. But I mean, this is where what we were talking about earlier in the tournament, where when you have Asia Wilson, when you
hmm
have Brianna Stewart, shit, when you have BG, right? Like, yes, you want to score inside. You're not just like, you don't happen to just be like the most physically imposing like bigs in the world,
Right.
like you're also like the most talented. So of
And yeah.
course, I want you to get your looks inside. However, this entire tournament, it definitely came at the expense of a perimeter game
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
basically Team USA had little to no perimeter game.
I mean, and it's been like that almost the whole tournament. You know what I mean? Except
Yeah.
like a couple games. But the like the games that mattered, like yeah, it was a worry. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
teams really kind of, I think they were trying to take that away from us. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Specifically that.
I feel like they kind of anticipated. They anticipate what kind of looks and where Team USA wanted to be scoring from,
Right.
basically, kind of dissecting, breaking down Asia, Stewie's, BG's kind of shot profile,
Right.
and kind of knowing that Team USA is not looking to set up any of their guards. They're not
hmm
looking to create any outside shots. Those are just
Right.
like release valve looks,
hmm
Thank God, like that we have Kelsey Plum, that we have Jackie, that we have, Sabrina,
Yeah.
kind of like, no pun intended, waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's legit.
but again, hey, right, for 2028, it just makes you think, right? Which again, we'll get into it, of like some of the other players that will be joining the team, because a lot of them will be guards,
we
likely.
could jump right into it if you want to, because I don't really
Um,
I don't
just
think I
one
have
last
anything else
thing.
that I would want to speak to. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
One last thing. Well, okay,
Mm.
we'll transition by two more topics. One thing I don't like is people. I understand that you don't give a shit about a lot of these, like the Olympics in general.
Yeah.
Don't lie to me. I know you, like, fans. You don't give a crap about kayaking. You don't give a crap about canoeing. You
Right.
know, all these other things. But hey, you see it on the Olympics. Just don't try to be an expert. Okay, I'm
Right.
saying. So
Right.
why do I say that? Because for all these people trying to kind of like belittle or kind of like denigrate these other nations, national teams,
Right.
right? Well, this is not kind of like NBA logic. Like, oh, well, that team, like, for example, oh, Gabby Williams doesn't play in the WNBA. She can't be very good, right? Team
Yeah.
USA, you're losing to a bunch of scrubs. What?
Yeah.
What? You
Yeah.
know, it's
They
not just
don't know ball.
no. I'm going to explain for those who, even if you didn't want to know, okay,
Hmm.
several of the national teams, not just France, but especially France as the host nation,
Hmm.
France, Germany,
Yeah.
Belgium, a
Belgium.
lot of their players agreed not to play in the WNBA this season, or at least
Yep.
for the first half, right? So that they
Prioritization
could
rule.
spend more time with their national team, ramping
Hmm.
up, building the chemistry that MJ has been talking about.
Right.
That
Hmm.
way they're not just a bunch of random people, strangers, that
Yep.
like show up, 2 weeks before the Olympic tournament.
Right.
That's what they were doing. Now you're starting
Hmm.
to see a lot of them are going to finish the season in the W. They're going to
Uh-oh.
return,
We got to freeze up.
you know. So wait, what? We do? Shoot! No way.
Is that mine? Can we pause? No, we can't. So I don't even know if we're recording right now, but I think I know where he was going with this. The ticker's still going, but I think I know where he's going with this. And this pretty much the point I've made, um, basically about just the WNBA players in general. And people just, especially people that have been new fans to the W, don't even understand that some of the rules, like the rules of prioritization, exist right now. So a lot of these players that people may have just now met have chosen, like he was mentioning, not to uh participate in the WNBA this season. So um and it's a rule for that. Like if you are not reporting to the team within the first, is it the first 5 games, or it might be even camp right now. I forget the exact parameters of the rule, but you have to show up if you're going to be on the roster and considered to be a part of the team for the season. You can't, you don't always get the opportunity to play the beginning of the year leave for your national team, only if you're, I believe, 3 years and under. So basically if you're a rookie you can through year 3, but after year 3 there's a prioritization rule that doesn't allow you to basically go overseas, go home, or go play for your national team, or a European basketball team, a FIBA team, Eurobasket. Like you can't go abroad, Turkey League. Like you can't go abroad and then just come back to the WNBA whenever you want to. That's not something that they are allowing, because I mean they I think it's got something to do with the finances, and they don't want to commit money to someone who isn't even going to be there for the games. So that's something that's in place. And I understand where Kyle was going. Like a lot of fans, especially like the newer fans that might have came from the Angel and Caitlyn wave. Like, understand that these women are very capable, and that the ones that you might see like, oh, they're not in the WNBA, they're not. You heard the commentators talking, I'm sure, about what players were once in the WNBA, what players were once at the top of the WNBA, might have been winners like a Lauren Jackson, and like big key players for certain teams like Gabby Williams, you know what I mean? And for the like new fans this year probably didn't see, they like, oh, who is Satu, who is Niara, who is, you know what I mean? And no, man, like, you guys have to educate yourself on the game and learn, you know what I mean, like that the the rules are different. Like he said, this is not just an NBA landscape, it's not an NBA landscape by any stretch, but understand that the women's game is different in that way. Like, there are some players that are going to be allowed to come back, like Satu, because she was hurt. And it wasn't something where she was dedicating her time to a national team or another team abroad. So they are actually able to pull that off. We got Khan back. Let me pull them in. But they are able to pull that off because they she didn't particularly violate prioritization rules, and that's what I was discussing. I'm sure you probably was watching on your phone or something, but
Yeah,
like, it's just the prioritization rules, and new fans won't know that. Fans that aren't really fans of the WNBA as a whole, and just these women being basketball players, because some of us actually watch the women abroad, and but there are rules in the WNBA that prevent certain players from, just hopping around whenever they want to. Like, you can't do that. I don't
correct.
think you could do that in the NBA even. Like, you have to get bought out if you're contracted to another team, or you have to make a commitment here and there. Like, if you get dropped or you're down the roster, or you get released, then you could go play somewhere else like they do. But it's just
Correct.
not. And I know it's only 144 women, so it's a lot of players that are really good, that are even just in America that we didn't even see in this tournament, that are capable of being WNBA players. And a lot of
Yeah.
people, if they seen them playing, let's say they had nationalities to some of these teams, and they seen them, which it actually was some of them that were, that didn't make a roster as well, is instead of just deciding to commit to their national teams or one of the other teams in a different league. And they are good. Like, sorry, it's not
Yes.
the 400. What is it, 450 in the WNBA plus
450. Then you add
450?
on
So
like what,
two
three
ways
time
and
another 45 with
exhibit
two-way
10s,
contracts.
and yeah, and like all of that. Like, man, that doesn't exist in the WNBA. It's very limited. So
Yeah.
I understand where you were going with the education, or the lack,
Well,
the miseducation. To shout out Lauren Hill
no,
of
I mean
of
it's
people.
I think it's I'm just gonna flat out, I'm sorry, man, if this sounds like a rant. Like I think a lot of you
That's fair.
people
Yeah,
that don't know what Michael just so eloquently explained,
yeah,
um, that's very ignorant.
yeah. No, it is. It
It is
is.
very ignorant. You are, if you have the time to tweet out all these ignorant statements about other national teams players, you could have
Yeah.
easily just
Google.
Googled
Yep.
them.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, she really is a WNBA player. I didn't see
Right.
that. I mean, I don't know.
Yep.
Because I mean, like, and we'll get into it. I mean, a lot of those players that, again, were not on a WNBA to start this, calendar season, or
Mm.
WNBA team, they likely will be at some point, if not this season, next season, in a non-Olympic
Right.
year. So, I mean, yeah, it's like my little pseudo rant there. It's just because, again, like you said, um, it's really disrespectful, in my
Yeah.
opinion,
It
to
is.
think that just because you don't know who they are, that they are not talented, and just because you don't know who they are, doesn't mean that they're not talented.
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but what was I saying? As we transition into the future Olympic team, I
Mm.
want your thoughts on this. Because somehow, uh, in an event where or in a game
Mm.
that some of not only our current established WNBA stars, several of them will go down in history as some of the
Mm.
greatest, players ever.
Ever.
You know, and it
Yeah.
took all that they had, to claw their way back in and come out on top.
Right.
Right? Somehow, Before a congratulatory tweet could be sent out. Even no, not even just by like these fans, by like the bigger accounts.
Right.
The questions come out like, would this have been a close game if Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese played?
Yeah, and
Take it away, man. What are your thoughts?
man,
I
my
mean, I
thoughts on that
know.
was that neither one of them would have been ready because
Thank you.
if
Yeah,
Sabrina, I thought I was thinking maybe Caitlin for her ability to pass, maybe Angel for her ability to play tough and rebound, but no, because at the end of the day, to deal with the type of like dissecting that these teams were doing in the final, like definitely the final two games. Um, I don't think they. Nah, it wouldn't happen because. And then I thought of Caitlyn when I seen Sabrina. Like, okay, is this what Caitlyn could have done? But Sabrina last year couldn't even did what she did this year. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because there were some things in her game that weren't unlocked. She hadn't had the time with Steph Curry over the break between the season. You know what I mean? Over the winter and.
yeah,
Because she had put in work with Steph, I heard that she had done that anyway, and just any type of expansion that they made to their games, you know what I mean. So these
yeah,
ladies were coming straight from college, um, and were lunged into the WNBA spotlight. Were lunged into the WNBA like level of play and physicality and targeting and stuff like that. I mean, that might have been a preview for what was to come from the Olympics, but the Olympics is a totally different ball game because they would then have to not only go from their college teams being the primary player, but go from their teams where they were drafted high, they are one of the focal points, to being a Sabrina, AT, or a off the bench fill in the gaps player. And are they capable of that? Like maybe Caitlin's good for a few assists, maybe Angel's good for a few rebounds, but as far as like actually executing on offense and making like good plays, like I don't know that they would have been prepared for that, especially like the physicality of France, like the way that they were playing. No, no, because some of those shots I seen Angel putting up, I thought of Angel. Some of the stuff I seen Sabrina do, I thought of Caitlin, and I'm just like, well, damn, if they having a hard time, what if I
no.
swapped them out? If I put
See,
Angel in Aja's place and I put Caitlyn in Sabrina's place, like this would have been an Aola. France would have been all on her head.
I agree.
We wouldn't
I
hit her end
agree.
of it now. And it's not
You
a
know,
knock on Angel or Caitlyn because I love them. I love them both. But preparation has to meet opportunity. You aren't always able
yes,
to sustain something if you're just giving it because you want it when you want it. Like you have to
yeah,
build up the ability to be able to say, okay, I've been waiting on this. And then it just lands in your hands where they are, as opposed to, man, I just wish, pew, and it just lands in your lap. Then it's like, oh, I got to figure out how to. Nah, not on the fly. Not during the Olympics. Like maybe we can play that old, let's try to figure it out game during the World Cup or something like that, and eventually, depending on what the rosters are constructed, like we might end up suffering some losses. You know what I mean? Because it's an
yeah,
adjustment period. Like the NBA did that with LeBron, Wade, and Carmelo. Like they were very young, and they got lunged into being basically three focal points of the tournament. Plus, they also had a coach that didn't really like rookie players anyway. So
yeah,
they got lunged into that because everybody, of course, wanted them to be there. They thought the talent was there and all of that, but it's bigger than just talent. It's bigger than just well, I've seen what this person can do. I've seen Carmelo at Syracuse. I've seen LeBron at St. Vincent and in the Cavs, Melo in the Nuggets. Shout out to Melo. Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. I've been shouting
Olympic
Melo
mellow,
out heavy,
baby.
and then he was there, and yeah, we'll get to that on the next pod that we're doing right after this one. But like, and then with Wade doing what he did in college and coming over to the league and like pretty much making an instant impact. Like I won't forget the playoff dunk on Jermaine O'Neal. But anyway, that stuff didn't translate to the Olympics. You know what I mean? So we, as much as we wanted Angel, Caitlin, Aaliyah, Boston,
You know,
even, you know what I mean? Like some other players to be there, like maybe Aaliyah would have been more prepared, but the other two, no.
I mean, simply put, going back to what we were saying, at the beginning of the Olympics or the build up to the Olympics,
Hmm.
we assumed, even we did,
Yeah.
that the women's team would pretty much blow out every opponent,
Yeah.
you know? And because of that, that was the only reason why I said, then, yeah, put Caitlin Clark on the team,
Right.
right? Because if you're not
Mhm.
going to play all 12 people, you know, then why not her? Right? She
Right.
could easily take somebody else's, the whoever else isn't going to sit, or whoever else isn't going to really be getting substantial minutes.
Right.
But in that rare time where maybe they are in a nail biter and happen to be the Olympic finals, right?
And
Then
you have
no.
a 6 or 7 person rotation.
Yeah. I mean, so going back to that question, like I'm with you. I don't think Cheryl Reeve would have trusted either Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese since they're the ones brought up the most,
Right.
you know, at all.
Yeah.
At
At all. I
all.
wouldn't have either. Like, no.
Um again, give France you can
Yeah.
sure, yeah, there are a lot of things US could have done better, like on their own, to execute. But give France credit,
Yeah.
they did their scouting report really well and they knew which tendencies to expect and what to attack. I
Mhm.
mean, think about, and I'm saying this in a good way, right? Like, think about how much Caitlin Clark's playmaking and like her ability to reduce turnovers. Look
Right.
how much that's improved as the season went on. And that is because she really needed to continue developing a rapport with her teammates.
Her teammates. Yep.
You think that like she wouldn't maybe experience similar difficulties with 11 new teammates because there's no other Indiana Fever member on that team,
Right.
right? If that would
That's
have
what
mattered
people
at
were
all,
looking. Yep.
you
Because that's
know?
that's why I understood when they said she didn't attend the camp is a bigger reason too. I
Yeah.
understood that. I understood that from day one. Like it wasn't, oh, you're not gonna let Caitlyn play. Like you hear all the big time people that shall remain nameless. We know who they are because most everybody pays attention to them, but I don't. But they're on their big old platform
Nice.
talking about, oh, um, this was a opportunity for, you've been crying about you need the women's game to do this and that, and this like what to have American viewers watching, like just us, because
I mean,
people abroad are watching for their. Nobody in France is like, I want Caitlyn to be on this team and beat mine. Like, no, they're not. I don't think they're in Belgium like,
actually,
I want Angel to suit up because I want her to beat Satu and Niara. Like, I don't. I can't. I personally couldn't hear
there
that.
was like, before I remember they showed a photo because Kareth Burke, she's a sideline reporter for the Warriors, but she
Yeah,
got to do sideline for Team USA.
yeah,
She tweeted a photo before, their group game against Japan, and a
mhm,
Japanese fan had a sign saying, "You can't beat us without Caitlin Clark." But
yeah,
it was a joke. They just wanted to see Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So, I mean, do they think? Yes, I think to a certain extent they would root for Caitlin Clark to play against their team.
yeah, yeah. I
you know,
mean, of course they
but
would.
no, no. Those are two separate things now. And again, that was part of why I was at least making the argument for why Caitlin Clark should have been on the team, right? Like to improve the visibility, you know,
Of Asia and
and
Brianna
no, like just of the
and
WNBA,
Kalia. Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
WNBA. Yes,
would
I
it?
do believe Caitlin Clark would help improve the visibility, right, if she was on the Olympic team. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about would she have improved the quality of play
No.
specifically? And I don't in this tournament. No,
Yeah,
no, I don't think so. I don't
yeah.
think so.
I guess I'll go back on that. They would have improved viewership, but
Yes.
I don't know.
See,
Maybe I should have tapped in more abroad to see if it was like if that sentiment was coming from across the world. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I'm just seeing things because I also saw the photos of like the German fans that had like
yeah,
Caitlin Clark jerseys on, underneath like their German
yeah,
flag, and
yeah,
they're all like disappointed. Well, you knew
yeah,
she wasn't on the team.
yeah,
How are you
yeah.
disappointed? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but it's not like it was a groundswell of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's what I mean. Like a 110, 5, 20 is cool, but that's a whole
yeah.
packed out arena. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And it's no diss to Caitlyn or Angel at all. But they will
Right.
be ready. They will
That's what I'm
surely be
saying. Yeah,
ready come next time around
and
because
frankly, they will be the face of that next Olympic team, or the
yeah,
faces of that next Olympic team.
yeah,
I mean, it will be like instead of Asia and Stewie, like back to back. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
gonna
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
you know
No.
what I'm saying?
Facts.
Right.
And that's if
So
AJ and Stewie aren't still the focal points. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because they won't be that old by then either.
yeah. And like I said, I mean, I don't know if we need to do it now, but it's not just going to be them that are going to be the popular players on the
Oh,
next
by
Olympic
then,
team, right? We already know like the big names that aren't even in the WNBA yet that people expect to be on Team USA. You
Paige,
know,
Juju,
yeah, I mean, right.
like man.
Oh, and a shout out to Haley Van Lith,
Oh yeah,
Derica, Hambry, Ryan Howard.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
missing the fourth member of the 3 on
I
3
am too.
team.
I am too.
I feel bad,
I forgot.
but yeah, bronze medal. I know it's not gold, but hey, man, all things
They
considered,
medals.
especially, hey, yeah, I'm not saying Cam Brink would have guaranteed him gold, but I mean that one too.
Yeah,
That was a last minute replacement because Cam got hurt, so
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll wrap up this episode. I mean, like, are there anything from this Olympics that you take away that you know kind of influences the way you look at the rest of the WNBA season, or something that maybe you saw from the Olympic team members that may or may not carry over into their respective WNBA teams? Because I have just a few quick ones that we've
Just
already discussed.
just the Olympic team members
Yeah,
or any team.
I guess any team, but I guess specifically, like if there's anything, like for
Um,
example, I'll just kind of reiterate. I think moving forward, and I don't want to pick on her, but I think Joel Lloyd, this is why I keep, throughout every time we do a WNBA episode, I keep reiterating the question, who is the MVP of the Seattle Storm? Who is the MVP?
it's NECA.
Right?
Well, it's Ezzy. It's
I
Ezzy.
mean,
It's Ezzy because
on certain days I'd say yes.
she's probably going to be the defensive player. Well,
Some days I
I
say yes.
mean,
Some days I
and
think it's Sky on certain days.
yeah, I
But the
mean,
point is that Joel Lloyd is kind of like the face of that franchise.
yeah,
And in order to be like, the definitive alpha that she should be, it's again, like from these Olympics, she really needs to understand how to play within a system and not just have everyone play off of her,
right.
things like that, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not out on Chelsea Gray, but
not at
these
all.
Olympics and this season makes me feel more confident that I think there needs to be a different pecking order on the aces.
Okay, go for it.
Oh
Don't
no, I
stop
mean,
there. Don't build
I
that
think,
anticipation up
I
like
think
that. Go for it.
it's
Uh-oh.
always been like, at least last year on their championship team, in my opinion, right? I'm not even talking about like leading scorers. It's just everything goes through Asia, and if it's not, it's going through Chelsea. I
Right.
don't think it should be that way anymore.
Uh-oh. At least I get what you're saying, and I agree,
Yeah,
especially
I
based off
think
what
she
we've
needs to
seen
be
from
playing
her.
off more of her teammates. Right? Basically, I think Jackie and Kelsey should be higher on the pecking order. Right?
Oh,
Like I
that's
think they've
tough.
proven that like I said, they're capable of doing more than what they did in years past. And I think they've reached a confidence level, a comfort level where they can sustain that, you know?
But does it help sustain winning?
See, I
Because
think
while
so.
Chelsea was gone, they were not the one seed at all. They were
Yeah.
fighting 500.
No, see, but that's the thing, right? It's because so Jackie was basically running point, right?
hmm
And then who's who's the backup point in Chelsea's absence?
I mean, I would say
You don't even need to answer that.
arguably Kelsey because she can
Okay.
do that. She's capable.
Okay, that's fine too then. But see, that's the point, right? Like it's you lack depth, significantly high-end depth when Chelsea's gone.
Yeah,
It's you see what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
not that necessarily, right? Like, oh, they can be just as good without her.
I think that's why
It's
they
just
brought
I
Tiff
feel
in.
like they need to kind of reorganize, kind of shift the amount of responsibility each player is assigned, you know?
Yeah, I think that's why they brought Tiffany Hayes in.
Yeah.
They got her to unretire. They like, we need you. and plugged her in, and she's shown flashes. So I mean, but it's still hard when you have a dominant player like Asia, then you have Kelsey doing what she does, Jackie doing what she does, and they've done nothing but keep getting better. That
Yeah.
triumvirate, they keep getting better. So how can everybody else get in where they fit in if they're not so much of a focal point? It's like when you're high up, come sit on the bench. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think it's tougher for them to plug somebody in, especially with Chelsea back. But I do think that
Yeah.
maybe for the rest of this, maybe she'll have it going by the playoffs, because I just think it's just a result of being away because of injury and
And
not
that's the
having
thing.
her rhythm, not having her body back all the way in sync and all of that. I think
And
that's what
that's
it
the
is.
thing. At the very least, I'd say for the rest of this
The
stretch,
rain, yeah,
right, and going in the playoffs, that maybe with a full off season, you get back to being 100% physically,
right.
health wise, and then yeah, maybe you're capable of being as efficient as you were in years past. I'm not out on her, but for moving forward for the remainder of this season, that's kind of something I'd look for.
All
Um,
right.
anything else?
I just wanted to ask, what name one storyline or one team that you think could be like a surprise team after this Olympics? And because I'm
Oh,
feeling like, and that's not name the Aces or the Liberty. Like mine, I'll just throw it out there,
good.
is the Dallas Wings.
Oh, you just took my. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, go ahead. I
No,
just said that. I
see,
know I said the team. I
no,
cover the
go,
team a lot. Go for it. Go for it. I mean,
no,
we know
go,
my
go,
reason. We know my reason. I was
go,
gushing.
go, 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 go.
I mean, because of Satu. Because of
Oh, that was my
Satu.
reason, man.
I mean, of course. I mean, so okay.
All right,
If I had
we're
to
truly
sidestep,
partners here.
if I had to sidestep, I'd say, uh, hmm. Well, I would say Washington, but they're not in position to like
Right,
make make a run. I don't think. And let's wait. I think Brittany Sykes is healthy. Yeah, this the rest of the season is about to be fun. Um, Let me see. I guess I would have to say I'm interested in seeing what happens with the Connecticut Sun and the Chicago Sky after the deal. I know I've tweeted it out
oh,
as
okay,
well,
yeah.
but I'm interested, especially for the Sun, because a lot of people, they were high on them because they started off undefeated the way they did, and then as the seasons kind of like kept going, they were like, oh no, they don't look, oh no, this is not this, oh no, this is, it was like all doom or gloom now. And
Right,
I just think that I just want to see if this deal that they made is going to be one that's actually going to help them, getting Marina Mabry. Like, you're getting Marina Mabry, like she can do a lot of things on the floor. So
I mean,
yeah, and then seeing Rachel in a Chicago Sky uniform now is crazy. Mariah Jefferson is over there too, so I mean, I'm just interested in seeing what those two teams look like. If I just considered this game, this stretch right now, 0-0, how are they going to end? You know what I mean? 8-6 or 8-7 or 10-5. Like, I just want to see what's going to happen from it
right,
for both of them,
right.
respectively. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I agree. I'm excited to see all the things that you listed for Dallas. I sound like a broken record here. I'm just kind
I
of like
mean,
regurgitating things I've said before, but no, no, no. Right? Satu's coming back.
yeah.
They already put the ball in her hands a lot. But again, I want to see if she will carry over, like I said, that point forward mentality approach. There's a difference, where you, instead of being like kind of like a secondary playmaker or facilitator, you actually actively, right, are setting up everything. You're initiating everything. I want to see her do that because I think it will help.
I don't
You
think she
know,
will. I don't think she will.
well,
It'll help, but Enrique's over there
yes,
at full
and that's what I'm
health
saying.
with time off.
Like a Stephen KD kind of thing. You find that balance eventually if you do it enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they
you
have
know?
familiarity too with
Yeah,
one another. So
exactly.
yeah,
Um, Seattle. is the team. I know that they're firmly in a playoff position.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're what, 17-12, and you kind of forget they started out the season like 0-4 or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they had to kind of dig themselves out of like a little hole early on.
Yeah.
And to me, well, obviously they've had players in and out, right? NECA was in and out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Sky was totally really trying to like
Just
find her
out of
rhythm
it.
early in the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a blessing in disguise that they weren't participating in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Specifically with NECA. I want to see how they look now because a little bit more rested. Kind of get like your your stamina going.
Yeah.
Your conditioning. Let's see. As I think they can make a little bit more noise and just like, hey, we're a playoff team. I think especially with Sky, because before the All-Star break, she was really, really clicking. Like she looked like vintage.
Yeah.
Skylar Diggins. So, I mean,
and don't count out Jewel coming back with a chip on her shoulder.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. She might actually what we are saying about her, she might just implement right now. Like, okay, I have to find my role, and then when it's time to take over and really truly become.
And she
the
did.
name.
She had some moments like that before the All-Star break.
She did. She did.
So,
but I mean, really do it now. Like where it's just overwhelming, unstoppable, like true gold Mamba, the Kobe type of takeover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this game's over. Because she was doing it. She was like she was flame throwing before the Olympics. So we shall see. But I think she's gonna have a chip on her shoulder too. I think she might have took it a little. We didn't hear nothing from Jewel. We didn't hear people talking about Jewel or nothing. Like,
okay,
she's gonna have a chip.
I know this is a WNBA episode. She handled it way better than Jason Tatum did. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
See, okay, and again, like, I'm again. I don't. This is a WNBA episode. Just make it real quick, right? Like, that's a very good.
That's how he was looking like.
And then here, I'll do my Tyrese Halliburton impression.
Right. No, I mean
that guy was having the time of his life, dude.
Yeah.
And honestly, for both of them, I mean, obviously, like Jewel wasn't as animated as Tyrese Halliburton, but with a team, you're all stars.
Right.
Both the men's and the women, you're all stars.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. Not everyone's going to get to play. So you know what? Like to be able to be comfortable with yourself and just provide good energy, be a good sounding board, be eyes and ears, from the bench. Maybe you're seeing something, right, that your teammates aren't,
right.
That goes a long way. So I commend Jewel Lloyd. Like I said, even though I've been very critical of her this entire thing, like I think she was a great teammate and I would love to see her again, in the next Olympics or next international tournament,
Definitely.
So,
okay.
All right.
I would add more, but we could go further. But we will.
We will. But we'll save it for our next.
Some stuff I got to convert over. So,
all right.
It's we are about to do the NBA version of this. So, if you're watching and you're an NBA fan as well, make sure you tune into that pod as well. Thank y'all for tuning in. All the WNBA heads, everybody that tuned into the women's Olympic tournament. You can follow us at EMW_pod at Twitter. Or on Twitter, I should say. And you see our names at the bottom. At CP3_777, at opinionated_MJ. Make sure y'all like our videos on YouTube, subscribe, share, tell them to subscribe and like, and then tell them to do the same thing. Like, subscribe, and share. Like, just keep the train going. And we'll catch y'all on this next one.
Take care.